Do you know how many times I've heard, let's get a union in my 30 plus years? That somebody came to me 2 months ago, somebody who has a little bit of clout, and they were like, we want to get together and try to form a union. Would you be interested? And I was just like, get the stuff together. Let me know what you're proposing, because they wanted names to support it. And then it never heard about it again. Yeah. What's happening?
Well, the old school, there's still feuds that are living long and dying hard. And that is one Jesse the Body Ventura. Man, he still hates Hulk Hogan. Now, going back about 2 weeks, Jesse the Body Ventura is back in the WWE fold, because when they were in Minneapolis for Monday Night Raw, there was a very dramatic viral tweet that went out of Triple H coming from the backstage area to the parking garage to welcome Jesse the Body Ventura home. He's back in the WWE fold. Well, he's getting himself thrust back into the news cycle now. On the political side, he was already back on the wrestling side and declaring, his political affiliation for the upcoming election.
Okay. Well, before you announce that, was he just there because it was Minnesota, or is he going to be doing like Legends stuff with them?
Well, that's kind of still up in the air, because Jesse's always said that he's off the grid. He doesn't live technically in Minnesota full time. He lives off the grid somewhere in, outside Mexico somewhere. He's not dedicated to staying in the United States anymore.
Okay.
But it was Minnesota, so maybe he still has family there or something. I want to say maybe 3 months ago, he had said with this new regime, he was going to be coming back in the fold in some way, shape, or form.
Interesting.
Maybe this is the first step. Are they going to use him as a color commentator for special events? Are they signing a Legends deal for merchandising, action figures, T-shirts, things of that nature, which makes perfect sense. So whether it's for either or, he's back in the fold.
Okay. All right. So again, you talked about the political stance. Did he throw his hat into the ring and announce that he's running for president?
He did not. He has in the past. He has said that in the past, but no, he has not. He has declared he is, as an independent, of course. He is not voting for Donald Trump. He is supporting and voting for Kamala Harris. He wants to live to see the first female president.
Interesting. Do you think it's to see the first female president, or if it's because Hulk Hogan is supporting Donald Trump and he wants to foil Hogan's plan of helping Trump win?
I will play that for you in 1 second. His tweet goes like this. Ask yourselves this question. How bad can Donald Trump and his cult of Republicans be if they can drive a true independent like me to endorse the Harris-Walz ticket? Take a moment to think about that.
Does it say hashtag Hogan?
It doesn't, but that brings me to my next point. While appearing with Reverend Al Sharpton on MSNBC, Jesse the Body had to bring up Hulk Hogan, who, as talked about on this channel a few weeks ago, appeared at the Republican National Convention endorsing Donald Trump.
Right. So is Jesse Ventura going to do the DNC?
I don't know, but let me play you the clip of Jesse the Body Ventura with Reverend Al. Reverend Al, by the way, teeth are 100% real.
Are you being sarcastic now?
I'm going to let you be the judge of that.
As far as Hogan goes, it doesn't surprise me, because when I was in wrestling in the 80s, I tried to unionize wrestling. And it was Hulk Hogan who cut my legs out from under me. Hulk Hogan went to Vince McMahon, ratted me out, and subsequently later on cost me my job. So it doesn't surprise me to see Hogan with the Republicans, because Hogan's as anti-union as you can get. There still is not a union in professional wrestling. The reason I tried to do it, I was in an elevator and ran into Gene Upshaw, the great tackle guard from the Oakland Raiders. Right. And Big Gene raised his finger up and looked at me and says, you boys need to form a union. I tried to do it, and it was Hulk Hogan who ratted me out to Vince McMahon, and subsequently I was fired and lost my job.
Wow. Never knew that.
Wow. Other things might have led to him also being fired at some point, but
heat, brother.
We'll go with that.
Wow.
That. But yeah, look at that. I mean, old feuds never die. And, these two do not like each other. And it's carried into 2024's political election.
That's pretty heavy. Holding grudges 80 years later. I mean, again, no one knows what really happened in those meetings. We weren't there, but that's a lot. So
story goes, Jesse got the boys together and said, we got to get a union.
Yeah.
And they were all in favor. They were all on board. Let's do it. And it was, basically my old age is catching up to me. I just can't remember if it was before WrestleMania 1 or WrestleMania 2 or WrestleMania 3. Just can't remember at the moment. And they were all on board. They were going to do it. And it was tipped off to Vince. He put a stop to it. Now, how Jesse found out, when he was in litigation against Vince, suing Vince for royalties on the old Coliseum home video releases, during the depositions that were being, read, that's where he found out that Hogan had ratted him out to Vince. Vince said, well, I found out that Jesse was trying to unionize behind my back because Hulk Hogan told me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we found out under oath that
God,
Hulk Hogan, because Vince wouldn't lie under oath.
No, I would hope not. Wow, that's really interesting. Do you know how many times I've heard "let's get a union" in my 30 plus years? There's always been somebody saying, we really should start a union, and it never ever happens. Never happened. Somebody came to me 2 months ago and said, "Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Somebody who has a little bit of clout." And they were like, we want to get together and try to form a union. Would you be interested? And I was just like, get the stuff together. Let me know what you're proposing. Because they wanted names to support it. And then it never heard about it again. So I don't know if the boys are scared to do it because then they might not get work. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's a touchy subject, but it's been talked about for years and no one has ever done anything about it. So.
Well, we're at the point, I think, where it's probably never going to happen now, because the further we get from it being, that old school build of, a territory, and it's more like a kind of sports run organization where everybody's got an agent. I think now it's not going to happen as a union. But do you think it could have ever come close during your, active days in ECW? You think that we could have gotten close to a union?
We never did. It was talked about then too. And nothing ever happened. I think the main reason was people were afraid that if they started with this union business, it would affect their status in the company. It would affect their push. It would affect their money, stuff like that. And at the time, if you were under contract, like you were kind of okay. You know what I mean? Like if you had steady money coming in, but I know like when I did indie work, a lot of the indie guys were like, yeah, we really need a union to fight these promoters and blah, blah, blah. And okay, that's great. And then no one ever did anything about it. But I can't even tell you how many times it's been talked about and just never happened. So
it seems like to me, you go to form a union, and kind of similar to what Jesse's saying about somebody writing out, but it seems like to me what a wrestler would kind of do is, yeah, let's all be together. And then, you kind of boycott or you kind of, go on strike, and you just have that one guy who would go whoop right back to the promoter and cross the picket line and get the strap or get the higher pay and turn on everybody. Right? Am I right?
Probably. No one wants to go without work. You have to feed your family. So for somebody, and what are you going to picket against? An indie show that runs once every 3 months? Like, what are you picketing against? You would have to be in an organization where you're so unhappy with the way that it's running. You know what I mean? And like ECW wasn't that. We were happy until the end.
Right.
And if we had a union in the last year, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because we still would have went bankrupt. So what's the difference? Like, what's the point? Yeah. But getting back to the story, if this didn't go down with Hogan, is Jesse Ventura just being spiteful and saying, well, Hulk Hogan's a Republican and I'm going to, jump on the Democratic side because I hate Hulk Hogan? Or does he really believe in what Kamala and the Democrats are offering? And it sounds like he does with the union factor. I get that. You know what I mean? But to me, there's this little bit of a feud that I think may have helped fuel his decision. And get him out there and get him on the shows. And I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up at a rally or the convention. Or when is that convention? Is it soon?
It's coming up. Yep.
Yeah, it's soon, right?
Yep.
Now they have I know they have a lot of like entertainment that is playing, like singers and stuff like that. But wouldn't it be great if Jesse showed up at the DNC and just,
wouldn't shock me.
Me neither. At this point, after seeing that, again, I'm not supporting one or the other, so don't come at me. I'm just saying, like, all for television purposes and for the night's festivities, I think seeing Jesse Ventura would be a fun thing to witness. Just like I thought Hulk Hogan was fun. He gave a great speech. I'm sure Jesse will give a great speech. He's a public speaker. He knows what to say and how to act. I think he could get that whole place rallied up.
And to my point, where I say how much I love Hulk Hogan, I love Jesse Ventura. He's one of my favorite acts, personalities of all time, and probably my favorite interview that I ever conducted of all time is Jesse Ventura. The most engaged. He was promoting one of his conspiracy shows at the time. So we had to cover 30 minutes like of his conspiracies. And it was like, once we got over that hump, we were allowed to talk wrestling. I was just invested in whatever this guy wanted to talk about, period, because he's just so engaging and just interesting. I love Jesse the Body. So you know what? I'll listen to his whole speech, whatever he wants to talk about.
Right.
He's a super good communicator, and it kind of makes sense. He was the governor of Minnesota. Now he ran as an independent then, but her vice presidential pick is the governor of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, too, that he's backing somebody from his previously run state. Yeah. So, take that for what you want.
It's interesting. Yeah. And he's a charming man. Like you said, I want to hear what they have to say. I watched the Republican National Convention. I'm going to tune into the Democratic National Convention. I want to see what they have to say. Any person with a brain should be interested in what both sides are offering. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. And then you decide when you're done, you have some time before November, you decide what's best for you and your family. And I know people are going to come at me again like you did before, but it's really uncalled for. You know what? Let me just say this. Why is it that so many people on social media can post whatever they want, but if somebody says something that doesn't even pick a side and they're in the public eye, they get demolished? Is it because more eyes are on us? More people see these tweets than just a common guy who doesn't have a lot of followers? Is that the reason why? because we got a lot of backlash over the Hogan Kid Rock videos, and I didn't even pick a side. I was just saying how I thought the speech was entertaining, the performance was entertaining. You know, like if I watch the DNC, am I not allowed to say the speakers were eloquent? You know, the X, Y, and Z performance was awesome. Am I not allowed to give an opinion? Am I not allowed to have a thought? Like, why? Why do you have to jump down people's throats? I'm not out there saying, Joe Schmo is my pick, and you have to understand my political views, and you have to agree with me because I'm right and you're wrong. No, I'm not shoving anything down anyone's throat. Be a free thinker and choose the candidate that you feel will benefit yourself, your family, your life. How more neutral can I be than that?
Can I get an amen?
I'm telling you, man, these people that want to argue with you and tell you you're wrong, shut up. Just shut up.
Yes.
And just go vote. Make your voice heard. Go vote. That's it. And most of these people probably won't even vote. That's the funny part.
We had one specific person who didn't even watch the video and just said, I'm out.
I know. I was like, dude, really? You didn't even know what I said.
And I didn't even watch the video. I'm tired of what I'm seeing.
I just saw the picture. I just saw the thumbnail.